of the year?
The MPN Awards show hits July 30th and the industry is buzzing.
Top creators, big moments, zero boring stuff.
Just pure celebration of the podcast shaping marketing today.
Mark your calendar.
Join the live stream.
The MPN Awards Show, July the 30th. Be there.
Register now at mpn-awards.com.
Welcome to Your Radiant Spirit, a space for the conversations and colors that help you see yourself more clearly. I'm Heather Eck, an intuitive artist and guide, and I believe your soul speaks in the ways the mind can't always put into words, through color, energy, and the stories your body holds. This show is where we explore those messages. Through personal stories, deep conversations, and creative insight, we'll uncover what's been hidden, release what no longer serves, and begin to imagine what's possible when you live in full alignment with who you're meant to be. What you hear here is more than inspiration, it's an opening, a chance to feel the shift that could change everything. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's step into today's conversation. Welcome back, my friends. Today's guest is Marta Jackson, a licensed trauma therapist, author, and creator of the Inside Out Living Framework. Marta helps people move beyond survival mode so they can reconnect with themselves, regulate their nervous systems, and build lives rooted in safety, authenticity, and purpose. Her work beautifully blends evidence-based trauma therapy with compassion, creativity, and deep self-awareness. You're going to love listening to this episode. Her voice is so soothing, and she's such a lovely spirit, so wonderful to talk to. I hope that today's conversation resonates with you, and you're ready to begin reconnecting with yourself in a deeper way. Before we move on, I want to let you know I've just created something new for you guys. It's completely free. It's called The Guide to Noticing. It's filled with simple reflections and practices to help you slow down, become more present, and recognize the quiet ways that the ordinary becomes sacred in our everyday lives. You can download it just using the link in the show notes or by visiting my website at heathereck.com. Let's get into today's conversation. Marta, thank you so much for being here with me today. It's good to see you again. I mentioned this before we started recording. I love that you, from a young age, knew you wanted to be a therapist. And I know like little kids, like my friend Jen and I, we would always play important papers. We'd
Mhm.
have like important stuff and we'd walk around and pretend we were like, I don't know, very important people out in
Right.
the world. So did you play pretend therapist too? Or like how did you know that this was something you wanted to do?
I played actually a mom a lot, surprisingly. So I guess I think that transformed it, taking care of feeding and being present. And that became more defined through a few things. My friends found me a little strange simply because I talked a little differently. I always mentioned feelings and kind of I didn't really define it at that time, but I picked up on energy and I was really attuned to it, and reacted to it too, people pleasing, all the fun stuff
Uh-huh.
that comes with it. But they would always ask me, really, why are you talking about feelings so much? We just can we just play? So that was kind of my first hint, I guess. And then when I was a little older, probably the beginning of high school, I talked with my mom, who I also believe should be a psychologist or a therapist, but she never went in that direction. She was discouraged from it. She started talking a little bit more about it, and then I found the name for it. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, that's what it is. I love listening to people. I love giving them advice because I think I know what I'm talking about. I had to modify that over time a little bit. I think I'm a little more humble, but it was just from then I just pursued it. I locked it in and went to college to get my degree. And funny thing though, it's not quite like a very clear process. I knew, or I felt like I would be really great working with couples, and
Mm.
that's what the program that I finished in United States, it was marriage and family program. And very soon I learned that couples is just something that I hate doing with the passion. It's not for me. It's really too complicated, too overwhelming. So I quickly,
Uh-huh.
I still had to weed through different things and know that, oh, trauma, oh, individuals, kids a little too emotional. So it's not like, I know
Yeah.
everything and I'm good to go. But yes, I was locked in rather early.
Oh, awesome. So I wrote a couple notes down I want to ask you about when you were younger and you would pick up
Mhm.
on people's energies. What was that like for you? Because I think you and I share that as a young person. We
Mhm.
probably picked up on people's energies. You could walk into a room and know how somebody was feeling or what was going on with them or what have you. And then you use the term people pleasing, and that's
Mhm.
me 100%. I say all the time I'm a recovering people pleaser. So what was that like for you?
Uh, Stressful generally, I would say, because I didn't really have words for it. I experienced a lot of anxiety and I was very confused about it often because it wasn't always mine, whatever I was absorbing. There were times that I was nervous about something specifically relating to me, but often it felt like it was, looking back, that it was really about other people. And the best I could do is figure out a survival strategy, essentially, which was fun, people pleasing too. Oh, something is uncomfortable. Let's fix it so that we can all be okay. I
Hmm.
did it with my family. I did it with my friends, essentially with everybody, because it was really almost like a nonverbal baby experience at that time. I knew something is up. I didn't have words for it, and I didn't know how to cope in a way that would actually protect me and help me be myself in the process. So I would just be sucked in early on, and then I got really good at it too.
Mm.
It was,
Does that
yeah.
still show up for you now as an
Oh,
adult?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. I am a recovering people pleaser as well. It's uh, it's triggered in different relationships. I would say I'm very much aware of it now. So instead of reacting, I tend to notice when I can, and I talk to my parts and say, like, oh, listen, I've got you. I'll take care of you now. I can protect you. You don't have to do it anymore.
Oh,
And then release the emotions that come up with it, and then I
yeah.
can show up a little bit more integrated. But yeah, it's still, it, it's just something. I don't think it will ever fully go away. We
Yeah.
just have to learn to live with it and navigate through it, take a little
It's
bit
just
better
kind of
care of
part
it.
of who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you use your intuition in your sessions with clients today? You sort of lean into what you're picking up from them energetically or emotionally. Does that ever come up in your work?
Oh, absolutely. It depends on how attuned I am to myself. So my best sessions are when I'm really grounded and I let go and surrender to the process, and then my intuition can come in, and it doesn't even feel like anything supernatural. It just feels like, oh, this is interesting, and then it comes out of my mouth, and we go with it.
Uh,
So it's definitely what's needed is that. So using that sensitivity as my superpower essentially is by letting go of it in a way, right? And like, okay,
yeah.
whatever happens, happens. I'm just going to be present, and it's okay if nothing comes up either. And in
Yeah.
those moments, it feels like that's where it starts flowing and amazing. I would say miracles happen, like little glimmers of, wow, that was amazing, without without much effort, really, either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of getting out of the way and letting
Yes.
Source or God do the work through you is
I
really
just love
powerful.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the work that you do now. You're a licensed trauma therapist and author and creator of the Inside Out Living framework. Tell us about that.
Yes. That's fresh. That's fresh. It's still kind of, it's a baby project. I
Yeah.
keep thinking that it's almost like I'm getting closer to labor and
Uh-huh.
birthing it. So bear with me a little bit. I first I, and foremost, I guess I'm a trauma therapist, and I love this work. It's a really deep work, and it's also emotionally draining. So at some point, I realized that something is missing. I was saying that trauma work is really, I feel like it's essential because it's so present and prevalent in our lives. It's not only that what we consider big T trauma, an acute event that causes us to disconnect. It's really small events that accrue over time. There's so many different things that can happen that push us out of that sense of connection with ourselves. So I love this word, but I also recognized at some point that it's causing me to drown a bit, and I need
Mm,
to reclaim the playfulness and fun, and maybe a little bit more like lighthearted way of approaching it, if you can approach trauma and healing in a
mhm,
lighthearted way. So it's almost like I grew to believe it's almost like a lifestyle change, the instead of, it's not a diet, it's more like, hey, we all need to learn how to come back home to ourselves. Without it, crazy things happen in the world, as we can
mhm,
see nowadays. I feel like that's the result of it. So inside out living isn't really something completely new and surprising. It's kind of like a path back inside first, to do the healing, to do the regulation, to do the listening, self compassion, acceptance, letting go wherever it needs to happen, and doing it repeatedly, so that when we go out into the world, we relate from a place of safety, integration, and grounding, rather than survival with
mm,
fight, flight, freeze, fawn, shutdown. And, for me, one of my favorites, of obviously, is people pleasing and fawn response, right?
uh-huh,
That's what I do. I go back inside, like I described earlier. And that's really, this is inside out living is really about my lived experience. It's not only about some special techniques that I've learned, or some research and that I've read. It's really about living and witnessing other people do the same, and how we all get lost, and what it takes to bring it back
mhm.
inside out. And then I feel like from there we can also go out into the spiritual experiencing, into the creative, into the intuition, because we have that connection already that's solid inside of us.
Oh, I love that so much. I feel like that's very similar to the work that I help people do with therapeutic art too, about going inside and helping them sort of reconnect to who they are and what they enjoy doing and to be able to hear themselves again, because so many of us
Mhm.
lose touch with that. Um, can you talk a little bit about, you said that the trauma with a capital T versus a lowercase t trauma, and what that looks like for people and how the inside out framework sort of helps people through various things that they're going through and
Mhm.
how they can feel better.
So before I jumped into the different types of trauma, I wanted to mention something, that in general, I am not a big fan of categories just to
Uh-huh.
kind of name it, because what often happens is it creates more shame for people and more confusion, and it's almost like comparison. Oh, I had a
I was
big
just going to
T
ask about
trauma,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So but there is most definitely room for it. Naming our trauma can help work towards acceptance of it. Oh wow, yes, I have experienced trauma, I have these symptoms, I can heal. I have the power now to heal, because I have words that describe what's going on to me. So often it goes from, what is wrong with me? I am somehow damaged. I am crazy, whatever the judgmental word we can insert here, to, oh my gosh, it makes sense now. That's what I feel like is the purpose of defining, and that's just the beginning, the insight, and then
Hmm.
we move on. But that said, it's good to differentiate that there is a spectrum, whole spectrum of traumas we can experience in our lives. Big T traumas generally are about more acute experiences, like a big event, major event, whether it's, let's say, it's a natural disaster, car accident, medical procedure, or maybe an incident of sexual abuse or something along those lines. And then there are chronic traumas, there are complex traumas. These are also big T traumas, really, but they are not as commonly recognized as such, because it's a little bit more subtle, is not the right word here, but it's
Yeah.
not, it's a little bit more silent, it's a little more persistent, and it happens from different directions. So and then we move on to vicarious traumatization, or intergenerational trauma, which clearly is not experienced by us necessarily, but we still deal with the effects of it. So it's almost like that small t trauma, it's almost like a death by 1,000 cuts, really. It doesn't
Mm,
seem like it's traumatic because it's not big and grand enough, yet it has the same effect. It chips at
yeah.
you, at yourself, at your connection with yourself, because you have
Hmm.
to once again go into that survival mode, right? to
Yeah.
to reestablish your safety, even if it's very fleeting. So that's, I guess, very general perspective on trauma. Now, inside out living, it's an extension of it, because it really starts with, oh, I'm no longer home. Where am I really, or who am I? And then we start recognizing what moved us away from ourselves. And that can be by learning that safety is actually okay to be felt in the body. It's by learning to listen to the body and to our emotions, and learning to also be a little bit less dependent on our thoughts and
Mm,
not believing them as facts. More so, it's just a narrative, it's a story. So integration happens through all of these different aspects. And I think, once again, I don't want to neglect spirituality. I think that that can be super supporting
yeah.
the process as well, and listening to that. And then the longer that work happens, the more it's about defining who we are now versus what was then, and what was kind of defining us, and going into meaning building and going into
Mm,
purpose work. So it's not only about healing trauma, but it's very much a starting point and a long term, really, endeavor. And then we move on to that. What really excites me too is like, oh my gosh, now we can see your spark. Let's work with it, and let's really
yeah.
connect with it, and show up in the world with it, because that's where all the goodness, all the beauty happens, I guess.
Hmm. I think that that's so important. You brought up a couple things that made me go, yeah. You talked about listening to our thoughts and that our thoughts are stories, but that maybe we shouldn't take them as facts all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
love that because I think about the story that Brene Brown tells all the time
Mm-hmm.
about the story that I'm telling myself, and she
Yes,
says
yes.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have started to verbalize that when something is really weighing on me and I feel my nerves start to fray. I'm like, the story that I'm telling myself is,
Mm-hmm.
you messed this up, or this is irreparable, or whatever it is. But I know
Right.
that that's not fact. And my
Yeah.
friend Laura, she's a life coach, essentially. She said to me one time, could you stand in front of Judge Judy and present your case with those? Are they facts? Are they facts or are they things that you're telling yourself? And that really was like a little bit of a game changer for my brain
Mm-hmm.
because I thought, oh, actually, no, I don't know that that's a fact at all. I'm making
Yeah.
that up or I'm telling
Yep.
myself this story. So, can you say more about the thoughts and what they do to us and how they sort of hold
Mm-hmm.
us hostage sometimes?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a source of information, and like any source of information, it's it, it's not always reliable, because we don't necessarily create thoughts based on some kind of solid research, like the ultimate truth. It really is through a perspective. And from the get-go, when we are born, we build those different perspectives, and they are skewed as they are, right? Because I kind of imagine it. We're little babies, and there are mirrors everywhere. And sometimes those mirrors are so beautiful and so accurate. They reflect that we are lovely, deserving, loved human beings. And very often they are not. So we learn a lot of different things. And obviously, those different stories that help us survive are going to be what we are going to hold on to closer to our heart, right?
Hmm.
So from there, we kind of put, and I think Brene Brown talked not only about stories, but she talked about putting on those lenses and glasses through which we see the world. And that's just what it is. So if you put green glasses on with green lens, the color is going to be different. It's not
Hmm.
fact that the world suddenly turned green. It's just that that's the lens you chose. And we all have our favorite lenses. generally it's about survival and maybe some good stuff in there too, but it's what we like to feel safe, essentially, right? So if anything resembles that story, our brain and our nervous system immediately will be like, oh, pay attention, danger, danger, you have to do something about it. I'm not good enough, I'm going to fail, the world is going to collapse on me because of, that's kind of a protection, right? To
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that and creating a little bit distance between the thought and who we are allows for a little space and deciding, do I really want to believe that? Or maybe there are other options. The other thing that actually just came to me is our stories also will be determined by how we are feeling. So if our nervous system already says, you're uncomfortable, I think actually maybe it's unsafe, you should run right now. That's the story we're going to tell ourselves, not that, oh, let me evaluate what's going on here and really truly decide what's the best option for me. If it's time to
Mm-hmm.
run, it's time to run. So what is just a perceived danger? It doesn't matter. We we want to live, right?
Yeah.
So just because of that, our stories aren't facts because they are informed by other aspects of our functioning, uh, and even if it's not beliefs about ourselves, it's about the world. And
Yeah.
clearly our parents, generations before us, are not super reliable sources of information, and we aren't either.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah. And really understand what it is that you believe and how you feel about something. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's so important, to kind of come back around to who am I and what is it that I need in order to feel safe in my body or to feel safe in my space. And I think that's so important to get back to who you are, what you're here to do.
Mm-hmm.
And generally like how to, we share a mutual friend who's a spiritual teacher, and she always talks about we greet people from our wounds. We greet people from a place where we are hurt the most, and we tend to operate out of that wound
Yes.
for almost everything. And a lot of times it's associated with either your root energy center, am I going to survive this?
Mm-hmm.
Or your identity center, which is, I don't even know who I am or, or what my role is here.
Right.
And they all sort of stem out of that, either of those two places or both of those places, depending
Mm-hmm.
on what you're experiencing. But your mission is to help people move beyond that and to feel better in themselves, to reconnect with themselves. And you have some really incredible things going on. You've written a book, you have a second book that you're working on,
Yes.
and you have a women's group called the Embodied Muse. Can you tell us about those?
Oh, it's one of those moments that I feel like this is exciting projects for me, and then I
Yeah.
suddenly want to hide into my small little, I'm still a kid, what are you asking me to do here,
You
place.
want me to
Uh,
talk about myself?
what
No.
do you mean by that? But I will do that. As we
Humble,
speak,
humble
I'm doing
brag.
the
Yeah.
regulation internally to soothe my little parts, and
Yeah.
I'll be showing up as an integrated adult right now for
I
at least
love
10
it.
minutes.
Thank you
um
for sharing that too, because I think that that's important to understand, like what you just felt in the moment and how you
mhm.
were able to kind of talk yourself into, it's okay for me to talk about this. This is my work. I
Yes.
do this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really embody the work that I
Yeah.
share with others through all my struggles. And I think all those projects are the result of that. The first book, Finding My Way Home, it's a therapeutic journal for women who feel like they've lost themselves, maybe repeatedly so. And it's quite a practical guide to how to find your way back home. Now, it's not prescriptive in the sense that you take all these steps in order and you're good to go. It's more so check these things out and make it your own, and then do it over and over and over again the rest of your life to continue finding yourself and going back home, because inevitably you're going to lose yourself again, probably. That's only to be expected.
Hmm.
And the second book, Living from the Inside Out, that's a working title. I'm not sure yet if that's going to be exactly it. it's an extension of that first book, except that it's more of a narrative memoir kind of self-help book that it's a collective observation of my personal experiences and experiences of my clients as well, and my oh, entire professional life, really, to emphasize the importance of doing this work, especially in times where that are very uncertain, which I
Mm.
feel like is now and
All the time.
maybe always, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it's that I'm more activated nowadays. I feel like I go out into the world and I feel that, speaking of picking up on energies, feel that anxiety and angst so much. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to talk a little bit about trauma, but also I think just normalizing the experience of losing ourselves and finding that path back over and over again and getting back to our purpose. Because I feel like the more people do that healing, the more likely it is that we're going to spread the light and offer it to others, and things can finally change.
Hmm.
Systems that need to be addressed and changed will change in a way that's kinder and more loving, and that's what I would hope for. That's what I strive for myself.
Hmm.
And then finally, the embodied muse groups, it's kind of like my fun project. It's about doing some healing and building self-awareness and that connection through creativity. That's the part of me that I've lost for a very long time, and it's taken
Mm.
me quite a bit to get back to. Creativity always goes first for me, and playfulness,
Hmm.
that's very tender and protected in me. So I wanted to make it a little lighter for me and for other people as well. So it's a kind of a mix. It's kind of like sip and paint kind of group, except there is no wine, maybe coffee and tea, and then there is deeper somatic movement exploration to help with different, I guess, different aspects of being, kind of loosely related to chakras,
Uh-huh.
like you were mentioning, right? To restoring safety, and then restoring your creativity and passion and sexual power, and then overall sense of power, and moving up through different chakras. So every group would introduce a different creative activity and some more somatic exploration to deepen that connection, and connection with others too. Community rules. I feel like there's so much power in that, in
I
that healing
agree.
together. um, so that's the I just did the, I guess, beta testing group, like I mentioned to you. It was really great, and I'm hoping to spread the word a little bit more. I'll be advertising the group a little bit more to hopefully start it soon. That's the plan.
Awesome. Well, there's one other person I just thought of I want to introduce you to, so I'll tell you after we're
Okay,
done recording.
okay.
Um,
I
awesome.
love how
Well,
resourceful you are. Thank you.
this is why I love this so much because I think, like you said, community rules. I think that's one of the things that has been so rewarding to me in doing podcast guesting for so
Mhm.
long and then now hosting the show. I feel like all in my mind, all I see are like all these little links being formed with people. And I love to introduce people to one another so that they just, can meet some other cool people. But I also think there have been so many collaborations that have come out of that too that have, that, like you said, spread the light, that spread the
Mhm.
light, spread the love to help people. Um, so I love that. That's one of my faves. All right. So tell us where people can find you online and how they can work with you.
I'm I'm present on LinkedIn under Marta Jackson PLLC. Marta Jackson Wilson in brackets. that's
Okay.
my that's my personal last name now. Um, and then you can also find me on Instagram, connecting inside out. Those are two main,
Awesome.
and my website as well. It's, oh my gosh, can I remember it? www.martajacksonlpc.com. I think that's the one. Yes.
I have that also in the show notes too. I'll put that in there for
Okay.
folks.
Okay.
And
Great.
then for people who are listening today and they're thinking, yes, this sounds like me. What is one simple thing that they can do today just to start to feel better?
Okay, that's a big question. I have to think about it
Yeah,
for a
take your
minute
time.
because I have too many ideas. I think that's the problem. So I think that in itself tells me something. Too many ideas, too excited, wanting to do everything all at once. That's my first step every single day, is to check in with myself and notice, oh yeah, there's anxiety naturally in the morning. I have some anxiety, and I work with it rather than against it. So I slow down a little bit more. I let it know I'm here. What do you need from me right now? Or
Hmm.
maybe there are other parts coming up for me, whatever that is, but tends to be anxiety. Okay, let's do it. We have to do everything. So that kind of moment of tenderness, I always put my hand on my chest, because on my heart, because it's very supportive for me, to kind of, I'm here, and nothing else matters. So that one thing, bringing yourself back into the present moment and just checking in. And when you check in and you listen, you're actually going to get answers. Maybe not words, but something will tell you, hey, I need you to pay attention to me. So this in itself, even if we don't do anything else, but just that moment of showing up and listening, it's huge. It's a super accomplishment, because most of the time we don't do it. We just go, right? So
Hmm.
I guess that would be my suggestion today and forever.
I love that. So, for folks listening, just take a moment and pause. And if you want to, put your hand over your heart space and just ask, what is it that you need from me today?
Yeah, that's it.
I think even just putting your hand on your heart is relaxing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
so soothing, like um, tapping your thymus gland, like
Hmm.
calms the nervous system. And I think
Hmm.
anything related to the heart space is instantly soothing. Just so nice.
Hmm.
Thank you for that. I love that. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here with me today. I've loved our conversation, and I can't wait to share your story with the listeners so that they can learn to feel better and connect with you. Just awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for joining me today on Your Radiant Spirit. Every conversation here is an invitation to go beyond the surface, to listen to what your soul has been whispering, and to step into the life you've been longing for. If you're ready to go deeper, to work in a way that's personal, creative, and profoundly transformative, you'll find ways to connect with me in the show notes. Whether it's through art, a guided session, or a fully immersive journey, you'll discover a space where your truth is seen and your next chapter begins. If this episode spoke to you, it would mean the world if you shared it with a friend, left a review, or subscribed so more people can discover the conversations we have here. Until next time, my friend, keep noticing the colors, the moments, and the nudges. They're all leading you home. And for now, take a breath, hold on to what resonated, and carry it with you into the rest of your day. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.